What is up, everybody? This is Branded Player 23, and this time around, I bring you guys some test hands and what things you can do with this deck build-up that I have. I know a lot of people are trying to learn how to play Branded. This is a good way to get started. These are by no means any basic combos. I have a playlist that you can watch about it with other creators' videos um, from the original time I learned how to play Branded. I'm working on getting an updated version of that for myself, but this one video here will show you what to do with that advance or build up that somebody who has played Branded for a couple years will know. Um, if you're interested in knowing the Branded basics, let me know in the comments below, and as well let me know your thoughts on the combos. There's a lot of decks in the meta. There's a huge variety of strategies that you need to go against with. So today I'm showing you the combos that I will be bringing out in this weekend's regional. If you have any questions, let me know. Also, the deck profile will be available in, I believe, the video that I'm gonna upload the short that you want to watch. So if you come from there, let me know as well and hit the like button. More videos like this. Without further ado, let's get into the test hands. Brandon Player 23 here from the future. I had to cut that part of the video off because I still had side the cards from my last duel here, but nonetheless, we're back to it. Once again, randomizing this deck. Everybody can see that it's not really like I'm setting the cards up for anything. Um, I was saying in the last video that I had to cut out, unfortunately, that this deck does brick. So don't think that by any means this deck will bring you the victory or I have a high win rate. It's Brander after all. There's a lot of cards that are one-offs. It's a 57 pile card deck. So you may break. Let's see what we get in the opening hand. Alright, so similar to the one that I had to scratch actually. Okay, we definitely get full combo here. So I'm doing all of these combos under the assumption that I have no negations. So if you want to know how to work or how to play over certain hand traps, let me know which hand traps would you like to know about, and we can do the simulation for those. For this one specifically, I'm gonna start my hand by activating Flawless. We're not doing interruptions anyways, but it's a good idea to get rid of this card early, just in case they have either Dracotail monsters or Canine monsters. Basically anything that will trigger monsters coming in from the deck or or extra deck, and it will give you an additional draw just in case they decide to interrupt. Still in the draw phase, we're going to activate Branding High Spirits, which will then allow us to send Saronir, and we will send a monster that is of the same type of Saronir to the graveyard. Always one of the best cards of the deck, Titanic, the Ash Dragon, super versatile, and we will add a card to our hand. Since we have a lure, we are tempted to add Mercurier. This is a draw phase, we cannot get drawled, and it would kind of limit our plays, but we can always do the safe Albion play. In this one specific scenario, I'm gonna do the Mercurier play because we're assuming that there's no hand traps or any negations that could come from the opponent. So we're gonna add probably get Mercurier to our hand, and on resolution, Mercurier or Albion, sorry, Saronir is gonna dump a branded card. I always like to go to send branded fusion first instead of branded retribution, just in case I draw fusion duplication or I dump the spin tragedy, because I can set it again, and you cannot do that with branded retribution. So we add this, and now this is our hand currently, and this is what our graveyard looks like, which is already rich. We already have follow-up for the next turn if we need to. So we need to randomize this deck. I'm gonna take my hands off from the mic now. We're gonna randomize it. We are randomizing the deck because we're going to draw 2 cards of Allure of Darkness. So we play Allure, draw 2 cards. Okay, this is specific. Great. Effect of Mercurier to add a branded card to our hand. We're gonna add, or to our monster dimension final Valvis. We are adding this specific scenario. I'll give the Shrouded Dragon since we already have branded fusion in the graveyard. We don't want to include another branded fusion. We want to leave it in the deck. So we add Albion. No interruptions, assuming we don't get drolled here. I'm gonna do Albion's effect to send Retribution. Go. Albion's effect to put itself in the bottom of the graveyard and draw 1 card. Draw another Fuwalas, definitely a card that is kind of useless at this point, but we'll definitely triggering Branded Retribution, then adding Branded Fusion back into our hand. Now we're back to having 5 hands in our 5 cards in our hand. You may want to include the following Evolvas to be removed if you use your second Allure of Darkness. Right before we do that, we want to normal summon Oliver so we can draw into uh, Branded Lost. So our fusions, not only the effects will not be the activation will not be negated, but at the same time we will search off it. All right, we at and do we want to randomize the deck again? Well, I'm gonna do the second allure just to illustrate how the deck draws into regular hands. Might be a reach, but nonetheless, we're playing to show people how the deck works. So I'm gonna start working with allure. Draw 2 cards, another Fuwalas. Might be our lucky day. Okay, we're gonna remove, in this case, we're gonna remove the Albion. We don't need to get rid of this Albus. We could use it for something else since Albion, we already used its effect. So I think it's about time that we enter into Branded Fusion territory. We're gonna activate Lost and then do Branded Fusion. So we are going to send Bestial Rebellion, since you guys already know that I love the Liondarness Dragon Lore lines, but something better that you can do is, since we are assuming there's no interruptions, send Incredible Ecclesia. As you know, the dragon that devours the dogma does gain the effect to be unaffected by any other cards if this monster is in the graveyard or field. So we're gonna send this to, and that would mean that we're working on Albion, and then we have trigger effects. 1 for Albion to Fusion Summon, 2 for Random Loss to add, and we're going to add Blazing Cartesia. This is going into our hand, and now we're going to fuse with Albion the Branded Dragon to make Stigmata Devouring Dragon. We're going to use some of the Fuwalas that we have in our hand, because oh my god, how many Fuwalas can you draw into a game? 2 monsters. We need a light or dark monster from the graveyard. I love to use the Abyssal Rebellion for this. The Abyssal Sarnier for this, I'm sorry. On summon, we have different triggers. We have, well, mainly the Stigmata Dragon, the Stigmata Devouring Dragon. So I'm going to return here Albus and Retribution, which are 2 very useful cards. After that chain is resolved, we're going to use Artesia's effect to special summon itself because we control Fallen Alvava, so we have it in the graveyard. And then we're going to fusion summon with Oliver. Oliver already fulfilled its function of searching, so it's no use for us this turn or the next one. But in the graveyard, it does have a pretty good monster effect. Okay, so now we have Grand Guignol's effect, and as you know, we're still missing the part where we special summon Rebellion, so we're going to send it off from Grand Guignol as we're reaching the end of our turn. Rebellion's effect to special summon itself. We already have Brand the Lost, so we don't need to activate this field effect. And overall, our graveyard is looking great for next turn. So we may have a lot of triggers. We still have 1 card in our hand that we're not going to use. Let's go into the end phase. So in the end phase, we have many effects to activate. Titaniclad. This is not going to come back this turn because we already use this effect. We have the option to get Ecclesia back, but we may or may not do it. It all depends on the condition. This monster is unaffected. It has 35,000 attack, but 3,500 attack. But in some cases, you may want to bring this monster back. This is not one of them, assuming there's no interruptions. So we're going to activate all these effects. Blazing Cartesia comes back to our hand, and then Titaniclad does bring out Quem one more time. Even though we have Grand Guignol, which will give us access to our other Despian monsters, also it could give us a Quem on the opponent's turn if we need to dump anything specific. Quem will dump a monster or a card. We don't have... we could dump Albas, but we already have one. We could dump another Cartesia, or we can dump Albion the Shrouded Dragon. I'm dumping a second Cartesia because we could also have access to Mysterion the Crown Dragon if needed. And the last card we're going to set is Albion the Branded Dragon to set Branded Banishment. And this will complete the test hand of what this deck can do under no interruptions. Does not mean that it will end this. If it's interrupted, it will just bring out something else. But as long as we can get access to Branded Fusion, we will have at least this portion of the lock. So these two are in the graveyard. You could also set Branded Retribution if you needed to. You have 2 monsters if you deem it necessary. You already have a tower with 35,000 attack. What else can you ask for? But for a lot of decks, that's not enough. So in the opponent's turn, we're going to fuse away with Branded Banishment, targeting Albion the Branded Dragon, and then going into special summoning Light and Darkness Dragon Lord with Lubellion, the Bestial Lubellion. So we're going to get a trigger for Branded Loss, but we can search up for the Courier. We're not going to trigger Clem because it's going to be negated by our monster. Since this effect, it's not an activation, but rather a use effect, it doesn't trigger Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. So far, this is where our hand looks like. If we go through the negations with the opponent cards, we can then use Guiding Quem to special summon Cortesia, and then we can fuse with these two to bring Mysterion out. It will not have all of the attack that we want, but it will definitely have a very good effect to remove monsters that the opponent special summons by the effect of other monsters. We have a negation, which Dragon that devours the Stigmata, and we still can bring out one of our Despias from the extra deck, which could be either Queritus or Priscanion in the event that the opponent has a graveyard effect or they play a lot of links. This monster is really good. It also brings Final Valves. If anything else could be done, at least in this hand, it's pretty good. It has a pretty good interaction with the opponent, and I don't think it could get any better. Now, this was only one hand. Let me know if you want to see what other hands of this deck does. I'm gonna probably do a live streaming of all the test hands so people can see how to this deck interacts or how this deck draws into any other interruptions or any other strategies that the opponent has. Let me know what hand traps you want to play around or you want to learn how to play around. Right now, Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion is a really strong hand trap against Branded. Mind you, if you're going into the Lion Darkness Dragon Lord and you're trying to activate Branded Banishment, if you have Branded Lost in your hand, the opponent will not be able to negate Branded Banishment with Ghost Spell Haunted Mansion. Remember that for your regional seas. I have a regional this weekend. Let's see how it goes. So I'm Branded Player 23 and I'm signing out. It was good enough already for this video. Let me know what you think. See you guys in the next one.